I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot as a kid. As I am writing the script, it's currently the 25th anniversary of the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, and I've been trying to get back into it for the time being. But before we continue on with the video, please make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on awesome content. All of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Friends have moved on to other things. Sure, there are a handful of Yu-Gi-Oh! Communities in my area, but I would rather focus on other things. At the end of the day, your interests change. It's not always for the best, but change is how you grow as a human being. My Yu Gi Oh journey started in 5th grade when I was channel surfing and I landed on an episode of Yu Gi Oh 5Ds. I don't remember which episode it was, but after that, I got hooked on the series. I didn't start collecting cards until a couple months after, when I got a couple of booster packs for Christmas. Even after watching a handful of episodes of the anime and getting those booster packs, I had no idea how the game was to be played. I never bothered looking up how to play or how to get involved, let alone what they sold aside from cards. One time during the holidays, I got a Barnes & Noble gift card, and I decided to impulsively buy a Yu-Gi-Oh! Starter deck with it. After buying that deck, that was when I got a much better understanding on how the game was supposed to be played. When it came to collecting cards, I'd simply buy packs and structure decks. I never bought booster boxes, nor did I buy singles, except for one time. I would usually buy booster packs and structure decks from department stores and Madness. For those of you curious, Madness is a comic book megastore. They're not paying me to tell you this, I'm just talking about them. In case you're curious, no, they did not sell singles of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, nor did they host Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. I know some of you are wondering, why couldn't you find another place for a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament? From what I've heard, game stores have to get Konami's approval in order to host Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, and according to one person who runs a game shop, it takes a while for Konami to approve your store for such. On one birthday, I got a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I was opening the packs up one by one, and on my very last pack, I pulled Slifer, the Sky Dragon! I remember going to school and bragging about my Slifer, and everyone who played Yu-Gi-Oh was jealous. I then went to a friend's birthday party and discovered a whole bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards hidden under his ping pong table. Eventually, we decided to bring our own Yu-Gi-Oh cards and flex on everyone. Eventually, more people started playing with us, both newcomers and those who've been playing longer than we have. My dueling skills were decent for a casual player, but as time went on, people started investing into other archetypes, and I started getting obliterated. The only archetype I was really interested in was Photon. I never bothered looking into other archetypes like Evil Swarm or Elemental Hero. I was interested with windups, but I didn't have the money to build a deck, and windup carriers and Matey is banned. Along comes Jeffrey. Jeffrey moved to my school the year before, and he was like, yeah, whatever. And then he joined our Yu-Gi-Oh clique and became the biggest parasite you could ever imagine. He would often nag others for their cards. One day, he saw my Ghost Rare MST. He would have done anything for my Ghost Rare MST. One day, he decided to bring some of his prized cards, one of which was a C69 Heraldry Crest of Honor. And I stupidly decided to bet my Ghost Rare MST for it, and lost. I was so desperate for that card that I traded my Ghost Rare Blue Eyes for it. In retrospect, that was a really stupid move, especially considering how that version of Ghost Rare Blue Eyes is now worth over $50, and that Ghost Rare MST is worth about $20, whereas C69 is worth a measly dollar. Eventually, he would flex on me that he won my Ghost Rare MST, and after that, I just gave up trying to get it. I had a few cards that were worth as much as that Ghost Rare MST, but he wouldn't trade it back for any of them. Eventually, Jeffrey started making up rules for Yu-Gi-Oh! Such as, a flip summon is a normal summon. Excess material from Methu Rabbit is destroyed at the end of the turn. The excess material that wasn't used stays on the field after the excess offer is destroyed. Eventually, we banished him to the Shadow Realm. One day, someone in our Yu-Gi-Oh! Clique decided to bring their magic cards, and a civil war broke out. Some folks in our Yu-Gi-Oh! Clique abandoned Yu-Gi-Oh! Completely, while others, like myself, refused to join. There were plenty of other students outside of our Yu-Gi-Oh! Clique who also played Magic, which made it easier for some in our Yu-Gi-Oh! Clique to join. I will admit that Magic has a stronger community compared to Yu-Gi-Oh!, but I simply could not get into Magic. I eventually tried getting into it in ninth grade. I went to Madness and got a starter set with 2 decks, and I played against someone who was more experienced, and I was obliterated real badly. And I never invested in any more Magic cards from that day forward. At that point in time, I felt that I invested too much money into the TCG and put a higher emphasis on playing the game online. I still collected cards since, but my interest eventually died out around the time high school started because I was more focused on other things. Fast forward to today. I moved on from Yu-Gi-Oh, but not completely. I did play Duel Links for about a month or two before losing interest in it quickly. I think what made me lose interest in Yu-Gi-Oh in general was how the rules got more complicated, along with the new formats and summons, and simply not being able to keep up with my Yu-Gi-Oh friends, even the ones who would eventually move on from it. About a year ago, I stumbled across a video from Team APS where they were dueling against 2 structure decks that were new at the time, and that renewed my interest in Yu-Gi-Oh! I eventually bought some more Yu-Gi-Oh cards and upgraded my Photon deck and bought my first ever booster box. At the end of the day, your interests change. It's not always for the best, but change is how you grow as a human being.